welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. It's me. I'm Chris, the guy who read the book. Except none of these are books that I've read yet. This is while showing you the books that I got, I will be drinking PBR. So, this book haul is mostly from a collection that I bought off Facebook Marketplace. Guy had between 500 and 600 old books. Mostly old science fiction. Not entirely. A lot of it right up my alley. Not all of it. Me and my wife are booksellers. I buy it in order to sell. However, there are some I could not sell because I don't have a choice. I have to keep them as a bookseller. These are the books that I shall be adding to my collection. Let's start off with some P.G. Wodehouse. So this is The Code of the Wosters. I have multiple copies of this book already. I don't have any that are like this. On the back, it has a cool map sort of thing. Inside is colored. It is sort of like, if you know those old Archie magazines, it's got that feel. This one definitely has a very old book smell. This one might be, it's printed 1938. Or copyright 1938, reprinted by arrangement. I'm not sure what year it was printed. 40s would be my guess. Late 40s maybe. This would not be a wartime edition. But very nice copy for my collection. I don't have any Wodehouse that's in this printing. And then I have Leave It to Smith, spelled P-Smith. This is a Beagle novel. I don't know. Never heard of that. Beagle Books. This is a 1971 printing. Can't say I haven't never heard of. I don't think I have any Beagle printer books. Cool. Other one. Alrighty. This next one is not in the best condition. However, it's very exciting. I can add it to multiple collections of once. The Adventures of the Peerless Peer. This is a Sherlock Holmes. The indomitable Sherlock Holmes joined forces with the Lord of the Jungle himself. It says it's by John H. Watson, M.D., by Dr. Watson. It's edited by Philip Jose Farmer. So Philip Jose Farmer, if you watch some of my previous videos, Down in the Black Gang, short story collection by Philip Jose Farmer. I said I'll pick up anything. I also have a Sherlock Holmes collection, so this will be nice in there. It's not in the best condition. It's got some water damage. But what's really cool is it had some old cigarette ads. Printed in 1976, copyright 1974. Pretty old 50-year-old, 48-year-old book. Another book that I got because of a book that I read recently is Welcome to the Monkey House by Kurt Vonnegut. I have no idea anything about the story of this. It's a collection of his shorter works. I hope these are fiction. Looking through, I see dialogue, it looks like fiction. As I say, read his fiction, don't read his nonfiction. Here are a couple of other older sci-fi that I picked up. The Green Millennium. Look at that art. That is some crazy art. Satyrs from Outer Space on a lusty earthbound spree. Copyright 1953. This one's printed in 1954. Fritz Leiber. I have seen him. I don't think I've read any of his stuff. A thriller to rival the best. It has all the action, intrigue, danger, and suspense one can ask. Says the Chicago Tribune about this brilliant new novel of a world tottering on the edge of madness, a world of brain scramblers, laughing cats, lady wrestlers, and a love-hungry wench from another planet. So, I have no idea what to think about this. I mainly picked it up because it's in great condition for the age and has some really crazy art. That might sit a while on my shelf before I pick it up, but I could not let that go. Here's another one I picked up, even though the condition it's in is pretty bad. The Emperor of the Last Days by Ron Goulart. I have never heard of him before. It's in pretty rough condition. Spine is coming apart. The back is missing a chunk. Got nibbled on cover. Not quite coming off. But the book itself is in actually this pretty good shape. Meet Barney, a computer you can love in a battle against tyranny on the future Earth. I just really liked the cover. The fact that I have not read this before does not speak of this guy before, does not speak super well of him. But there's a lot of old sci-fi authors that maybe made 1, 2, 5, 10 books that maybe, there's some good stuff mixed in there. So, Emperor of the Last Days. In my previous video, I talked about a book by Keith Laumer. I hope I'm saying that right. I have now 2 more books by him. There is A Plague of Demons. Giant robots with human brains fight the Demon's War. Which, that's pretty good. This is what Felix said when the demons entered the restaurant. For 20 years I've been expecting a surreptitious war. Fought not on battlefields or in space, but in the streets and offices of apparently peaceful cities. A war of brainwashing techniques, infiltration, subversion, and betrayal. It's been in the air, a vast insanity that's kept us flogging away, nation against nation, race against race, with the planets at our fingertips. Who looked like 4 pretty girls killed him. Now there's only his friend, John Bravis, to repulse the massive alien invasion. Back got another copy of that. Snakes, aliens, coming out of a human skull. I don't know. Like Keith Laumer, crazy cover. And here's another one by him, Night of Delusions. Come, Florin, face reality if you can find it. So that's the front cover, but if you open it up a little bit, there we go. It's got some alien reptile lighting his cigarette. Is a flying fish. Here's another flying fish in the back. If you look at the bottle he has, there is some sort of creature in it. Don't know if it's alive or dead, preserved. There's a mermaid, maybe. I think you can see why I picked that up. Next book is The Adventures of the Stainless Steel Rat by Harry Harrison. So I have multiple books in this series. However, I don't have the beginning of this series. And this is the first 3 books. The Stainless Steel Rat, The Stainless Steel Rat's Revenge, and The Stainless Steel Rat Saves the World. All by Harry Harrison. Nothing super exciting. They're books that I enjoy. I don't know how great video fodder they would be. Not a whole lot to talk about. But a crazy guy who, in the one book that I read, he did a heist. He stole a ship, traveled across space with his wife, going on, I believe they went through a wormhole. They talked to crazy aliens. Good old science fiction. And here is an old bookmark that came in it. Pretty cool. But it's good to have the first ones in the series, because it referenced a lot of stuff that happened earlier, which I did not know because I did not have the beginning of the series. But now I do. Next one, Spatial Delivery by Gordon R. Dickerson. Alrighty. So there are some bears, one of which has a backpack on with a small child on the inside. There's a spaceship in the background. That's not a small child. That's a man being carried. Why did I... There are some people wearing some futuristic spacesuits. One guy's got a cape. Big old spaceship in the background. Fancy looking building. By Gordon R. Dickerson. I don't think I've read any of him, but that's a pretty fun looking cover. Whenever there's animals doing things animals shouldn't on a science fiction book, it's good to pick up. Speaking of which, here's a book by Gordon R. Dickerson and Poul Anderson. Earthman's Burden. There we go. And if you can see, there are two little, I don't know if they're mice or rats. I think they're mice. And some sort of flying contraption. A tiny dragon. One has a monocle. It looks like a Sherlock Holmes type. Another one is a knight. The Adventures of the Galaxy's Zaniest Creatures. The Incredible Hokas. Poul Anderson. I also got another book by him. There Will Be Time. I'm not sure how I feel about the cover. If there's a certain... I have a lot of them they're all just one color. And so he's a color. The moon is... or I'm assuming that's the moon's in one color. There's buildings. They're all one color. Spaceship, all one color. But this is a time travel by Poul Anderson. I think I've read a couple other of his time travel ones. There is no machine that can take you into time, past or future, but what if you are born a time traveler? Jack Havig did not know how he could cross the centuries merely by willing himself to, but the fact remained he could. And, thought Jack, if I can travel through time, there must be others. Guy who can travel through time. Alrighty, two more that I picked out by Poul Anderson. These are both, here we go, Guardians of Time and Time and Stars. These are both short story collections. This one says the short novel collections, but it's 160 pages. So 40-page novelettes, I guess. It's a little short to be a novel, a little long to be a short story, but there you go. And then Time and Stars, which I believe has 5. It has 6 short stories in there. This one published in 1964. Continuing on with short story anthologies, Return of the Dinosaurs, which is just an anthology of dinosaurs. Let's see, here's a cyberpunk anthology. I'm trying to collect some cyberpunk. I've read a couple of those stories. They're a little harder to come across, cyberpunk being a smaller subgenre. But it's got some cool, shiny bit on the front. Frontiers in Space, another old science fiction anthology. That's all of the authors that are in there. Let's see. Ray Bradbury, Alfred Bester, A.E. Van Vockete, John Wyndham, John Boucher, Fritz Lieber, Mac Reynolds, Frederick Brown, Frank Russell, William Tenn, Arthur Porges, Zana Henderson, Bill Brown, John W. Jakes, and Damon Knight. I've heard of most of those people, but there are, 14 stories and 166 pages. It's about 10 to 15 page stories, which I think is a great spot for science fiction short stories. Cool art. This one was published in 1953. So it's on the older end of my science fiction. Maybe it's probably one of the older science fiction anthologies I have, although a lot of anthologies include earlier stuff from the 40s and stuff, but all of those were published in 1951, 52, and 53. So it says. One more anthology is Dealing in Futures by Joe Haldeman. He is the author of The Forever War, which is a classic, so I'm told. I have it. I have yet to read it. But since I heard it's so great, I collected that. And then also 2 more by him. There's The Forever Peace. I mean, this is after he wrote The Forever War, so I wonder how good that's going to be, but we shall see. And then War Year, classic forerunner of The Forever War and Mindbridge. First time in paperback. Appears this is not science fiction at all, but is an excellent description of the day-to-day life of a grunt in Vietnam. It is a hard, realistic piece of writing. So if you put this together with The Forever War, and I think I have another book in that that he wrote afterwards, and then you then put The Forever Peace, you have a bunch of his writing about war. Here is all the books I've gotten recently, and even though it doesn't look like a whole lot, it's a lot of books. these old paperbacks don't take up a whole lot of space. Thank you for watching. If there's any of these that you think I need to read right away, let me know. I'll put them at the top of my queue. Otherwise, they will join my enormous to-be-read collection, which I think you can see now. Over up to the right. That whole bookshelf, everything in pink and above it. That's all the science fiction that I have yet to read. Thank you for watching.